All right, we are back on the Andre Duke show with Carter Smith. How is everybody doing today? Carter and Richie are both out today, but needless to say, we are here um, on this Thursday night, getting ready for Thursday night football to kick off, getting ready for Wake Forest NC State to kick off. That is kind of what we have going tonight. If you can do me a big favor at the beginning, hit the like and subscribe button, help us grow this thing. I am doing as much self promotion as I can on this. But how is everybody doing this evening? Just looking at it for what it is. Just getting some links reposted. Just seeing if we can get this going. But yeah, how's everybody doing on this Thursday night? The Packers and Washington getting ready to kick off. We got some other stuff getting ready to kick off here soon. NC State, Wake Forest. There is that. But I guess we'll hop right into the nuts and bolts of the show. Also, we'll open the phone lines at the end. So if you want to get your calls in, you can. That is something that we are also have added to the show, but also live on TikTok. If you're watching on TikTok and want to be a part of the conversation even more, hit the link in the bio and come on over to YouTube. That helps us tremendously. And also, we're going to have the phone lines open. So if you want to call in, you can do that. So, but yeah, so getting everything going here. What do we got? Okay. There's that, but so just with some of the headlines today, like I had on the thumbnail the other day, all the SEC coaches are. Oh, hold on. I'll start here. What was this? Start three: Lad McConkey, Nico Collins, or probably Nico, Emeka, and Pearsall, but Pearsall's a little iffy. So there's that. But the Thursday night football is kicking off here soon. Wake Forest and NC State kicking off real soon. But getting it going with on the college football side of things, Debo, Higgins, or more. I would go Debo and Higgins. Probably Swift. But there was on the issue that happened at Florida State, I'd go Penix. But on the issue that happened at Florida State with Ethan Pritchard, I guess 4 people have been arrested. So there is that. I'd go Debo. But so we'll see. Yeah, I 100% agree with you on the God. Hopefully his family can work through this awful time, to be honest. It's a very interesting time in the country. Dak or Fields, I think they both stink, but Fields will probably score touchdowns. But there's that. I'd roll Coleman because he's most likely to catch a touchdown. The other big news is sources say Wisconsin QB Edwards is going to be out against Alabama. Probably Andrews this week. Wake Forest is getting ready to kick off right now. With NC State, we have that going. Should I drop Tank Bigsby and pick up Austin Eckler? I don't think you're really saving much there. I think you're swapping one mid for another. So it looks like Wisconsin's going to be without their starting quarterback, and Wake Forest is going to take one to the house. Wow. House call, opening kick. Look at that. It is looking rough for Dave Doran and the folks at NC State, to say the least. So there is that. Just getting some other things going here. But yeah, if you're watching on TikTok, come on over to YouTube and join the conversation. That helps us a ton. There's that. Also, SEC coaches are backing the one-time transfer portal window. And I think the reason why that one-time transfer portal window is getting back so heavily is because realistically, the SEC, it'll help them tremendously on player retainment, because it seems like it's only going to be 10 days. And I think that short of a window, with it being only 10 days, that will help tremendously. It's not going to be like this 30-day process in the middle of the playoffs. And realistically, only 8 teams will be affected by it, because they'll still be in season if they make the quarterfinals. That is also something to be said. I think that it realistically saves a ton of player movement. And then also, when it comes to the SEC on this type of stuff, they have just the one-time window, which is the, I guess, winter window when it comes to the transfer portal. And the spring window, that's the same amount of time as the quote-unquote in-season window. It lets them keep their players. I would probably roll Garrett Wilson. But it lets them keep their players, to be honest. It's one of those things that doesn't really move the needle for most people, but shortening the transfer portal window, it makes it harder for the player movement, because they really got to know where they're going. I think the only thing that'll really ramp it up will be the thing that'll get ramped up more than anything will be the tampering. I think you'll see a ton more tampering going on, more than there already is. But I mean, pretty much, if you're not tampering, I think everybody else is. So, but there's that. Appreciate the follows, guys. Appreciate it. But I would stay away from Malik Neighbors for a couple of weeks until they get that figured out. I would play Ridley. But also the Missouri quarterback Sam Horn to miss the season. Looks like it's Bo Pribula's job to win. He would, I guess, be declared the winner there in Missouri. He hasn't looked too awful bad, so I guess we'll see what Missouri looks like going forward. That is also something that's going. I think it's Aaron Rodgers or Geno Smith or Bo Nix, pick two. I would go Rodgers and Geno Smith, to be honest. But there's that. I think that a lot of fantasy talk in the chat tonight. But I guess Coach Jim Leavitt, ex-South Florida coach, it says his DV charges have been dropped. According to documents, 68 was arrested last month, called to an argument with him and his ex-girlfriend to his St. Petersburg apartment complex, charged with felony grand theft and misdemeanor counts, simple battery, DV. However, said in a court filing Wednesday, it's coming from ESPN.com. USF announced in June Leavitt would be inducted in the school's Athletic Hall of Fame ceremony. Blah 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 blah. Posted. Well, guy's got issues. I'll just say that. But I guess he got the charges dropped. So I would say that that is what it is. Also, as we're getting into it this evening, we have Alabama wide receiver Ryan Williams expected to play this weekend. I think that there is a lot going on around the Alabama program, to say the least. I'm sure that it is something to be said there. I don't know. It'll have to be how they get it going coming forward. I think that that's something that they got to figure out. But he expects to play. Indiana cornerback Moore eligible to play 2 more games. I guess that's what it is. So I don't know if they'll save him for late in the season. Who knows? And then USF football coach Sean Clark in stable condition after a medical emergency. Appreciate the follow. So I guess he had a medical emergency at Thursday night and is receiving appropriate care. Coach Scott Froster, our football team, administration staff are fully supporting Coach Clark and his loved ones during this time. Our thoughts and prayers are with Sean Clark and his family, the school said. Clark spent the previous 5 seasons at Appalachian State, going 40-24, where he was fired last December after the school's first losing season since 2013. So there is that. He is in his 70s and is a millionaire. What's he doing at an apartment complex? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Dave. And then ESPN has the earliest bubble watches, or not bubble watches for the playoff after week 2, which I don't even know how you can do this. They have Oklahoma on there, Alabama on there, Illinois, Indiana, Clemson, Georgia Tech. The Big 12 is Iowa State, Texas Tech, Indiana. Group of 5 is the U.S. South Florida, and then the Enigma is Tulane. So I don't disagree with how those things are going, but realistically, that's kind of what it is at the moment. I'm not shocked that Tulane in South Florida would be the top 2 schools on the bubble watch. I would say that that's probably going to be your group of 5. Representative, to be honest. Tulane or South Florida, they have the best wins this far in the non-conference. So there is that. Those are kind of some of the things that are going on what ESPN has portrayed. So there is that. But also a fun fact about the Alabama side of things here. I found this stat: Kalen DeBoer's record when wearing all black 9-1, when not wearing black 1-4. You can make of that what you will. That is just some of the things coming down the pipe that Alabama has got going. I think that they've got 2 weeks in a row to get right before they get to um, Athens in a couple of weeks. I think they have Wisconsin this weekend, which we'll be streaming that live at noon. Just kind of some of the things that we have rolling. I think that's one of the games. The 3:30 game will be Tennessee, Georgia, and then the 7:30 game, Notre Dame, Texas A&M. We will have those, and then maybe a call-in show. We'll just see how that is going. But also here to kick soon, Washington, Wake Forest, and NC State have already kicked off. So there is that. Interesting note coming out of SMU. ESPN to release a documentary about SMU's return to glory. I find that fascinating, to be honest. I don't think a lot of people in particular paid attention to SMU prior to that, because when the Southeastern Conference folded, SMU was going through their whole all their NCAA sanctions, and they were kind of like a non-entity because they had all of the NCAA violations. Then they didn't have football for a year, and then you have the famous Ricky Waters just running out of bounds against them, and when Notre Dame played them. So I think SMU is kind of to where they were a non sequitur, to be honest, and so it is pretty much at the forefront of them getting back to being a relevant program, in which I think that, when they had June Jones there, they made positive strides. I think they were in Conference USA, and then whenever the conference realignment stuff happened, I think they moved to the American. And SMU has pretty much positioned themselves. They went out and raised the funds. They are a relevant contender, and I think they could be a sleeping giant in college football just by the sheer fact that they have they've got really, really deep pockets. So there is that. Also in other news, the Nico stuff. This is Tennessee for its first 2 games, and this is UCLA. I think that at a certain point, you've gotten to where I don't know. I think this Nico case study, this will be studied for years to come on this. Nico takes a pay cut to go to UCLA, quote unquote, go home. I'm not buying that from everything that I had heard. Obviously not Pickens. Everything that I have heard and seen, this is pretty much the quote unquote way to mess up your career, to be honest. I think that one of the bigger things that they didn't do on Nico's end is I don't think they did their due diligence, and they also tried to strong arm Tennessee. I don't think that was a swell move on their end of it. I just kind of look at it and think to myself, like, what are you guys doing, to be honest? There's just nothing that screams to me that they should that Nico and them should have um, moved off of where they were at. I don't think that it was good on their end of it to do that. I think we're seeing that now. I just kind of think to myself like, what are you doing? You've pretty much, I wouldn't say have torpedoed his career, but I think that overall it's to the point to where it's going to be hard for him to get out of this one. I really do think that I just don't quite understand what you're doing there. And you go to UCLA of all places, and they're not very good. That's the problem. When it comes to the UCLA thing, when it comes to uh, is Tennessee better than UCLA? I would say, yeah, they are, but just kind of one of those things. They decided to make the decision and they went to it, and I just don't think that it's going to bear the fruit that they want it to um, going forward. So we'll see. We'll see how this ends up in his career. Oh wow, Wake Forest, and there's a horse collar tackle. Wake Forest is just balling out in this first half against NC State. So also 13 players involved in a gambling ring. I don't quite know what that is going to how that is going to bear any fruit. Um, I think that I did read some of that. I haven't read the full story, but there is a gambling ring. Uh, where can I watch the game tonight? It's on Amazon. Ugh. About blue snot rockets everywhere, but Wake Forest is looking like they're going to go up 14-0 here. Oh, for some reason there's a flag, blew it dead. So, but there is that. Also, Oregon. Dan Lanning throws this out there. If you're going to come in and you're going to be talking foul language, it's time to cowboy up, and that's kind of what it was. They had Oregon completely dismantles Oklahoma State at home. I think that where that came to was a fascinating case study, to say the least. That is, whoa, what are they doing? Thursday Night Football they just pulled a Commanders jersey out of broth. That's very interesting, to say the least. But there's that. I think that the Oregon game was highly personal. I've said that before. I think that they have issues with the play clock in the Wake Forest game. But I think it was highly personal on that end of it. Oh man, he's in. That's a tutty. I think that's a touchdown. In a blink of an eye, NC State's going to go down 14-0. Yikes. Let's go Bakers. But yeah, so I think it was highly personal to Dan and Oregon, and they took care of business the only way that they know how. So there's that. Here's a fun one. Oregon football, it would be interesting if they would do this, if they brought the giant inflatable duck to Northwestern. I'm sure the folks in the Big Ten would not be thrilled about this. They would probably be freaking out. It is Oregon could do it just to have some fun. I think that it would be interesting. DV Sport got a I don't make a lot of trades in fantasy, so there's that. But yeah, to bring the inflatable duck to Northwestern would be fascinating. I think the hardcore Big Ten fans would have like a major issue with it. I think that they would not like that at all. And I mean, that's just kind of what it is. I just am looking at it. Hold on one second. But so we'll see. That would be the biggest troll job I think ever, and I think they would be freaking out about that. But also, want to remind everybody the phone lines are open. If you want to call, get your call in. The number is 260-255-4069. Is also, it is on the ticker below. So if you want to get your call in, give us a ring. And Wake Forest is in. There is that. So there's that. That is the number to call. So I guess UCLA's backup quarterback is suspended. So there is that. But interesting enough, Wake Forest up 14-0. We are waiting on Thursday night football to kick off. I would start Reed, but like I said at the beginning, the number is at the ticker on the bottom, 260-255-4069 if you want to call. So there is that. So get your calls in if you want to call. Also, I'll take this time, if you're watching on X or if you're watching on TikTok and you want to join the conversation, come on over to YouTube, hit that link in the bio and come on over. It'll take you straight to YouTube and you can call in, and that's what it is. And then also, if you've made it this far into Friday, Friday's going to be a standalone call-in show. We'll be talking a little football, probably recap Thursday night football, recap this Wake Forest game, and we will keep it moving and a grooving. But here is the bottom 25 for college football. I kind of don't know how that they add Iowa to this. Just getting something going there, but I think I'd start Debo. But Iowa, Florida, Syracuse, Northwestern, North Carolina. I think once Belichick gets into North Carolina's conference schedule, he's going to figure out what it's all about, because I don't think that it was all rainbows, butterflies, and My Little Ponies. But also, ULM got absolutely blown out by Alabama. Can't really blame them there. I think there's a talent gap there, a major talent gap. Let's go Love. Kennesaw State, Eastern, Western, Sam Houston, Stanford. I think Stanford might be the worst team in all of college football outside of Akron. Georgia Southern. If you look at the teams at the bottom, they just have no resources. They just have no resources whatsoever. So there is that. The Pack Pride, the North Carolina State Wolfpack message board is melting down as we speak. So they are down. They're down 14-0. this early. So there's that. Also, phone lines are open 260 255 4069. So there is that. Debo or Terry tonight, higher floor. I would say Debo. I don't think they're gonna let Terry get loose. But Akron, Georgia Southern, Ball State, Georgia State. Georgia State took a tough one on the chin I think it was last week against Ole Miss. Ole Miss completely dismantled them. And I'm not shocked that Marshall's on this list just for the simple fact of Charles Huff pretty much dipped out of town and took the whole team with him. But Marshall created their own problem. And then Virginia Tech, I would say Virginia Tech is going to be an open job soon. I don't know if he's going to be able to survive, to be honest. And then here is the upset alert. I think most of the teams that are on upset alert this week, I would say LSU, yes. But if A&M beats Notre Dame, is that really that big of an upset? That's kind of what I'm looking at. I don't think it's that big of an upset if Notre Dame ends up dropping one to Texas A&M. It's a ranked SEC opponent. I get it, it's at home, but I still think that's a tough sell for me as an upset alert, especially Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech's an underrated team. They're normally out of the top 25 every year unless they finish the year absolutely strong. But that's just kind of what that is. But South Florida has came out of nowhere just ripping and roaring through this college football season. I think South Florida it'll be interesting because as it sits right now, them and Tulane would be meeting in the American Championship. I think those are the best two teams in the American. I know a lot of people want to talk about Memphis, but Tulane had that they had that bad loss. Well, I wouldn't call it a bad loss, but they had that loss to Memphis at the end of the year last year. And I think that LSU or Florida, I'm going to roll Florida. I think Florida goes to Baton Rouge and wins. I really do believe that. I had somebody ask me on TikTok, but I think Florida wins at Baton Rouge. I just don't see how. I think it would be fascinating. I don't think so. Well, I don't know how many Brian Kelly years you watched at Notre Dame. When Notre Dame would be really, really good, Brian Kelly normally folds up like a clam in these situations. He didn't do it against Clemson, but a lot of people were, I don't know if they're discounting Clemson at the moment, but that is going to be how it's going to be shaken out. But I think also if I'm a Miami fan, I am definitely on upset alert just for the simple fact of what South Florida has been able to put together the last couple of weeks. So there is that. All I'm saying is that LSU is winning. LSU for life. I'm like, okay, we'll see. But I'm not putting that much faith into Brian Kelly. Also, I like this year how ESPN is showing the control room from the ACC office or their command center where they are reviewing stuff because of all the speculation last year of the ACC getting Miami wins. But NC State is doing some decent things here. They are moving the ball, so we'll see. We'll see what this drive bears any fruit. Commanders, Packers, 10 minutes away from kicking off. That is one thing that is great about the NFL, that whenever they say The kick is at 8:15. Typically, they're kicking the ball off at 8:15. I know it is like that on Sundays. So there is that. So what else do we got going here? But I think the A&M Notre Dame matchup is fascinating. Clemson Georgia Tech will be interesting as well. But out of those two, I think it's Miami, South Florida, and then Florida LSU. I wouldn't start Terry McLaurin tonight. That's just me. But do with that information what you will. NC State is just piled up. If Wake Forest makes them kick a field goal and they miss a field goal and give them good field position, boy, it is going to be a rough one. But also back on the Florida thing, we've got Caleb Banks is going to be back for this game, a pass rusher for the Gators. We'll see if that makes a bigger impact at all. I think Billy will be able to get the Gators right offensively. I think that they just kind of were, I hate to say unprepared, but I think that was a perfect storm for the Gators down there at Gainesville. I mean, it just was rough, but NC State looks like they have better athletes than Wake Forest, but it's just not looking good at the moment. We'll have to see what that comes out to be. NC State, they're driving second 11. So we'll see what NC State gets figured out here. So also the phone lines are open. If you want to come on over to the YouTube side of things and get your call in, we will do that as well. NC State's queue is running all over the place. Looks like it's going to be about a 3rd and 2 coming up. But here are the SEC power rankings going forward. All right. Appreciate Doreen with the share. Appreciate you, Doreen. But here are the SEC power rankings. Quarterback wise, 3rd and 1. 3rd and 1 coming up. We gotta check this out. 3rd and 1, Wake Forest. NC State's got to burn a timeout because they didn't have the play in. Dave Doran doesn't look like he wants to eat his microphone just yet, but there is that. But here are the SEC quarterback power rankings. Mateer 1, Nussmeier 2, Sellers 3, Pavia 4, Taylor Green 5, Manning 6, Lagway 7, Marcel Reed 8, Bo Perbula 9, Jackson Arnold 10, Ty Simpson, Joey Aguilar, Gunnar Stockton, Blake Shapen, Austin Simmons, Zach Calzada. After week 2, I find those very interesting. We're going to find out a lot about Taylor Green and Arkansas this week because they do play Ole Miss. That has been it's going to be an interesting matchup, I think. Also, breaking news, Pete Nakos throws it out there that Hayes King has not been listed on the injury report. So that kind of makes me wonder. I would say Hayes King is going to be a go, but I'm trying to think. One of the games that I'm looking forward to going down the stretch is going to be the Auburn. It'll be Auburn, Oklahoma. Just for the simple fact it's a Jackson Arnold goes back to where he came from at Oklahoma. We'll have to see how that turns out. But here are the TV ratings for week 2. Am I shocked that Michigan, Oklahoma dominated it? No. Ole Miss, Kentucky. I was shocked by that number that they were number 2. So Ole Miss, Kentucky in the 3:30 window almost beats Big Noon kickoff. Now let's think about that. They almost beat Big Noon kickoff. Does anybody else find that fascinating? Because I do. And then the CW coming in with SMU Baylor coming in with a 1 million. I watched a little bit of the Boston College, Michigan State on NBC. I'm surprised that drew a 1.6, to be honest. There is that. Texas. I mean, Texas was going to draw a big number regardless, I think. That's just kind of how that was going to go. Dion drew a pretty decent number. Oklahoma State, Oregon, 2.3 million people tuned in for the slaughtering that was Oklahoma State. I find that interesting that that's the way that panned out. So there we go. There's a fog stuck in the air. I think that's from the. Oh, they had a food truck fire at Wake Forest. That's why there's so much smoke on the field. That's fascinating. Well, that was not on my bingo card, and I don't think they got that. I think that's 4th down for NC State. If Doran goes for it here and doesn't get it, yabba dabba doo. That is going to be a rough endeavor for Dave Doran going forward. NC State is 2-0, but you would have thought Wake would be one of those gimmies. Now he's going for it. He is going for it. That is fascinating. I cannot believe they're going for it. I know this much. If they get it and Wake goes down and scores, you go down 3 scores in the first quarter. Not a good endeavor. They called timeout. This is where a lot of people question me, but this is where I'm not above kicking field goals. But also Missouri, Kansas, fairly decent showing there. We'll put that back up. But, oh, man. Fire at Wake Forest in the food truck. That is interesting. Also wanted to deep dive, since I brought up Belichick in North Carolina. I guess we will look at their schedule. Should I start Dobbins? Where are we at? So Belichick gets a reprieve this weekend. North Carolina takes on Richmond, should win that one. UCF, and they got to go on the road at UCF, and then they have Clemson, got to go out to Cal, Virginia, Syracuse, Stanford, at Wake Forest, Duke, and then NC State at the end of the year. I'd go Jacobs. So this makes it interesting. We got 4th down coming up for Wake Forest. They are telling us about the triple header that is Georgia, Tennessee, Wisconsin, Alabama, Florida, LSU. I bet the entire day, I don't have to change my TV except at the 7 o'clock hour in order to get the Notre Dame game, because I think that's on NBC Peacock. So Wake Forest is coming up. See if their defense can bow up and get this. Debo, Marv Hill. I'd roll Debo, but you better hurry up on all these Debo questions, everybody, because they're about to kick off. Rolling out, touchdown, NC State. Pretty good play there. Austin Simmons not listed on the injury report. That's fascinating. So there is that for the folks that are wondering. So NC State punches it in, but anyway, back on North Carolina. They've already set the Syracuse game. That's a Friday night. That is a Friday night, 7:30 kick. And then also they end up getting another Friday night, 10:30 kick with Cal. So Belichick's going to have two big time primetime games going down the stretch. Interesting stuff. I think we're about to kick off here in Washington. But yeah, that week one is really rough for Belichick and UNC. And I'm also high. I know we're talking a little ACC here. It's just because it's on. I think that hell of a game that they had with Michigan State, Boston College. I mean, BC gets the L, but they're big. They got two big ones. They got Clemson and they got Notre Dame. And I also think that NC State, or not NC State, but the UConn game, Boston College playing UConn, is going to be a dogfight, to be honest. There's that. But also, if you're watching on TikTok, come on over to the YouTube side of things. The link is in the bio. Check us out on out on YouTube. Also, the phone line is open if you want to call. The phone number is 260-255-4069 if you want to get your call in. So there is that. Thursday Night Football on Amazon is underway as well. So we got that going. We kind of got I got both TVs on in the center. So there is that. But anyway, I think we got some fairly decent games this weekend. We'll run over the games real quick, but Friday is going to be a strictly call-in show. I think I might start that at 6, maybe 7-ish. There is that. But the schedule for this weekend, we'll run down it real quick. Of course, we got NC State, Wake Forest right now. Wake Forest is just moving her up and down the field on them. But Friday, your Friday night games, Coral Gate, Syracuse. Don't know how excited everybody is over that. Hold on one second there, TikTok. I got to check something here. That's not what I wanted. What am I looking for? Oh, there it is. But yeah, so we got the we got that. Just placing a wager here. All right, I'm back. So yeah, Houston taking on Colorado. Kansas State, Arizona Friday night, and then UCLA, New Mexico will be fairly interesting. Oh no, that's an unfortunate turnover. So NC State, in a matter of 30 seconds, has tied the game up. That is a very, very bad endeavor. But we get it going on Saturday. Oregon, Northwestern, Clemson, Georgia Tech, Oklahoma, Temple, Wisconsin, Alabama, Central, Michigan. I'm sure people will be lined up for that one. I'm just looking at notables. Tennessee, Georgia, Penn State taking on the Villanova Wildcats. I believe that is what their mascot is. So if anybody's interested in Villanova, Penn State. So NC State has knotted her up here at the moment. Where are we at? USC taking on Purdue. USC traveling to West Lafayette. That's an old Rose Bowl matchup, maybe. I don't know. Texas, UTEP. I'm telling you, South Florida, Miami is going to be an absolute banger on the CW. I think the CW wins in this one because they're going to have back-to-back top 10 games, I think. I think they're going to have back-to-back top 10 games that they've had this week. So we'll see what fruit that bears, but there's that. What is going on here? This Thursday night game is off to a rocky start NFL wise. Ton of people on the hill at Wake Forest as well. Looks like it's Robbie Ashford. Quarterbacking the Deacs here. So there's that. Ohio State taking on Ohio. And then the two 7:00 outstanding games that we have are LSU, Florida, and Notre Dame. Notre Dame A&M. South Carolina also plays at 7:45. Love dials it up. Incomplete. Hawaii not on TV. Arizona State kicks at 10:30. BC Stanford kicks at 11:30. Cal Minnesota 10:30. So there is a whole nightcap worth of games also to check out as well. So they pretty much have everything in every window for the most part. But yeah, if you want to call, we'll leave it open for a little bit. Leave it open a little bit longer for you guys. We'll leave it open for about maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll get out of here and we'll have some of that. Oh, man, Matt LaFleur is going postal on the sideline. He is screaming at the officials, but the number to call, 260-255-4069. Number to call. Going up deep. Even though that is going to be a touchdown, I think they got a hold in the backfield. That is Aaron Rodgers or Geno. I'd roll Aaron Rodgers, but I think that's a hold. So that will be coming back. We'll leave it open just a little bit longer. So there's that. And then also Richie has confirmed he will be back next week. Appreciate the follow. Can I join? Actually, you can call in if you come to the YouTube channel. I'll leave it open just a little bit longer because I planned on cutting it off at 8. You can call in. The phone number is 260-255-4069 if you want to call in. That is the phone number on the YouTube show. College Football Fan 87. If you want to call in, you can do that and you'll be live on YouTube. The phone number is 255-4069. That is the number on the YouTube. I'll leave it open for about 5 minutes. So there is that. After that, we'll close it down for the evening. But yeah, that's the number if you want to call. So there's that. If you want to call in, it is 260-255-4069. That is the number for the call-in show. And I will leave it open. You got 4 minutes if you want to hop on. How we doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, what you want to talk about? Yeah, I can hear you. What you want to talk about, man?
So you're a Florida fan, right? Oh God.
I wouldn't say that I'm a Florida fan. I just have I had somebody get me a vest for Christmas. I got all kinds of team apparel.
Do you have like a team that you like a lot?
I don't really have a team per se. I just really like college football. I watch
what's your thoughts on Iowa State? That's my team right there.
Iowa State. See, with Rocco Beck, the only thing that concerns me with Iowa State is I'm just kind of curious on how they're going to score points whenever they would play like a Big Ten or an SEC defense. That would be the only thing that would concern me.
I mean, yeah. So last year, if we did beat Arizona State, we would have faced Texas in that first round. But I'm kind of glad we lost that game because I want to verse Texas and get whooped.
Yeah, the Texas side of it is that they were good. They were good up front until they played somebody obviously like in Ohio State. But I think that Iowa State they're in the driver's seat, in my opinion, in the Big 12. Now, the big thing that Iowa State is going to have to overcome is they're going to have to deal with
Arizona State and BYU. And also TCU. That's a very tough opponent.
I would instead of throwing TCU in there, I think a lot of people are giving TCU a lot of hype because they played a standalone game on Monday night of the opening weekend of college football. But what I will say is I think that you'll have one of the bigger issues in that it will be it's one of those things that they've got to get moving forward because I think Utah is the bigger issue.
Yeah. Like I don't know how.
Oh crap. Sorry about that, caller. Did I lose you? Did I lose you, caller?
Did he hang up?
Can you hear me?
What did you say?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I was just making sure. I had something going on with the iPad. I was just making sure. I thought I lost you for a second. But
okay, yeah.
But I think that I think Utah is the bigger thing to deal with on the on the bigger side of the Big 12 because they have Dan Pierre. He's looked great so far. I think that also.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12. Big 12. I don't like Baylor's quarterback. I don't know why he's so highly ranked, like as a good quarterback. Because I remember I watched that game with Auburn. They got destroyed by average SEC team. I just don't understand why people are hyping him up.
Well, the thing with Sawyer Robinson is that he translates really well to, I think, the NFL because of his ability to throw the football down the field. I think that is something that he has that is done that
Yeah.
is he's got all the intangibles because as I pull up Sawyer Robinson here, he's a 6'4", 220 quarterback, and
He's a very big quarterback.
And he's not gonna. I mean, last year, if you look at his completion percentage, he had a 28 to 8 interception ratio. He was 229 of 368, and Baylor wasn't that good. And he threw for 3,000 yards. So I could see where he's going to be high on NFL draft boards. I think he's a smart kid. He goes to Baylor, but one of the kids that I think is getting overlooked in the Big 12 is some people.
What you thought to Kansas State?
Here's what I think about Kansas State. If K-State is going to be one of those teams that's up and down, and they are paying Avery Johnson a lot of money, and I think it's causing a lot of issues in the locker room.
Yeah.
I think also a bad look on that end of it is they had that bad showing in Ireland. I don't think you're ever going to get over that. And then on top of that, your dad and brother are fist fighting outside of the stadium. Where does that?
Yeah, I think it's crazy. They almost lost in North Dakota. The FCS team that we beat 50-0 last time. I mean, it was maybe 45-0 when Iowa State played North Dakota, and they almost lost. They lost to Army the next week.
Oh yeah, I think there's tons of issues in the locker room at Kansas State. The kid's driving a Ferrari in Manhattan, Kansas. I'm not from out there, but I know how to look at a map and I can just realize
where are you from, man?
There's a lot of issues there, so that is that.
Yeah. Where are you from, Florida or something?
No, I live in Northeast Indiana.
Indiana?
Yep.
Okay.
But I guess I appreciate you calling in, man, but also I will let you know it's the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. We're doing another live call-in show tomorrow, I think at 7 o'clock. And if you want to get your call in tomorrow, if you got anything else, and then also we're going to be having live streams on Saturday on the YouTube, and I will have the phone lines open as well. So if that's something
you can't do Friday or Saturday.
So
because I got a home game, I got a football game I gotta go to.
Oh, well, that's cool, man. I appreciate you. Good luck in your game this weekend. I appreciate you calling the show, man.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep. Have a good one. So there's that. We had our first caller. Appreciate him for calling in, and he's got a high school football game, so wanted to talk some college football. So there's that. We will shut it down after that. You guys, especially on TikTok, have a good one. Come over to the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. We will talk to you guys later on TikTok. Also on the YouTube side of things, we'll probably throw the call-in show up at 7 tomorrow. See what you guys want to talk about, and there's that. Hit the like and subscribe button. Help us grow this thing, and we'll be back tomorrow. And then Saturday we'll have three live streams up, and the phone lines will probably most likely be open. So we will talk to you guys later.